what we saw is that the electorate that had voted for En Marche in 2017 in the big cities, they shifted from En Marche, from Macron, to the new Green Left coalitions. And I think it will be effective because they have a huge popular support and they embody something new. But the majority of the cities and the whole of the country is not on the left or green. It's more conservative. So if you want to understand what Macron is doing, you have to look at the big numbers. And the big numbers show that the right is really powerful in France still, outside of the major cities. And that's why we have a prime minister which is very much on the right. And maybe we will have some concessions in the governmental casting, for the left of the environment.
Because they said that, you know, with the lockdown period, Philippe, that digital inequality was set to grow. All inequalities were set to grow. What you're saying effectively is that the France of the hipsters who want bike sharing and the France of the people who marched in the Yellow Vests movement that gap is going to widen?
Oh yes, it has never been so wide. I mean, it's really politically strong. I mean, and the containment, the lockdown has increased that monumentally. So this divide you're referring to was at the very core of the Yellow Vest movement. So it's not an accident. It's really a structural thing, and we can only hope for the government or the president or the candidates that will be able to reconcile the two. If it's possible.
If it's possible, again, let me put this to you, Mathieu Nyongo. You said in the 21 months that are left of the Macron presidency, that's not possible. You don't see him changing course in any way. You don't see a more inclusive French presidency. So then what's going to happen in 2022? Could we find ourselves with a second round of the presidential election where it could be a far left candidate against a far right candidate?
No, I think that an alternative can be constructed. On these three pillars, I say it again, social justice, ecology, and above all, I would say democracy, make people talk together. That's how a coalition can be made. We talked about Marseille, that's the way she did that. She comes from citizen movements, actually, alternative movements, Michel Roubirodia. So this is the way things can be done, the construction of an alternative which takes care about people on these three pillars: economy, justice, social justice, ecology, and democracy.
So it is possible, but then again, Andrew Smith, when you look at the little time that's left in Emmanuel Macron's mandate, which way will it go?
I think we are absolutely moving back into an era of electoral coalitions, which are going to have an increasing influence. And I say that largely in the wake of what the weakness of the Parti Socialiste, the weakness of Les Républicains in the face of their more extreme wings. I think the Parti Socialiste has obviously seen in this last election that it really needs to kind of cleave to the Greens if it wants to actually drive itself forward. I think that's really, really important. Personally, I still think come 2022, we'll probably see a sort of repeat second round runoff of what we saw this time. I think Macron's very intelligently put a prime minister in place that has strong links to one of his competitors on the centre right, and Xavier Bertrand. Of course, Castex worked with him in the health ministry. I think we're still looking at these phenomena you've described already, this age of commuter democracy, as Jean Viard calls it, I think very intelligently. We've got this difference between the people that live in the suburbs and the wider countryside and those that live in the centre of the cities. I think forging that kind of divide, managing to actually join those people together in one project is something that's very, very difficult. It relies on playing on a kind of a natural kind of conservative reaction, a sort of a desire to move away from dirigism and kind of great projects and of state and all the rest of it, and open up a greater kind of listening ear to the public. So I think, with this appointment, with Castex, what Macron could possibly do is take some more personal charge in terms of some of these sort of environmental policies to make them more attractive. We heard already, Philippe mentioned the idea of the the green taxes and the yellow vests. I think that's really problematic if you actually jump straight back to those same reforms. The project is for Macron to show movement, to show acknowledgement of this new trend, and to claim back some of those who feel that their voice isn't being heard.